Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie, for those of you joining me for the very first time. And I am in the chat both on High Vibe and on YouTube. So welcome, everyone. Iggy, I'm so happy to have you in the chat on YouTube. It is July 7th, so 7/7 today, and we just had the 4th of July weekend here in the US. So I hope everybody had a great weekend, whether you chose to celebrate or not. I understand that now it's a controversial topic, but I hope you all had a wonderful weekend regardless. So it is a big day. We've got Uranus moving into Gemini. We've got a lot of retrogrades coming our way later this month. So it's going to be a big month. With that being said, I did do monthly readings for July. They are available on the Weekly Oracle Wisdom YouTube page, so make sure you go and check them out. It is pick a pile, so you can pick the pile or piles that most resonate with you, and that's your reading. All right, so we are just going to get into this and have a look at the energies that we have coming up this week. I am starting with a MahrukhX deck, but I'm using the Future Higher Self Oracle. I don't know why I didn't grab the Ascending Life Oracle, which is the deck I usually start off with, but I just felt pulled to this one today for whatever reason. So that's where we're going. Okay, so first card out, following your heart will lead to the right things. So if you're being pulled in a particular direction and you're doubting yourself, you need to listen to that inner guidance and just trust what you're getting. So often we second guess ourselves. I mean, I was heading into an appointment yesterday and we had made an agreement on payment, all of that. And in my head, I kept hearing, you need more money. And I was like, no, I don't. I've got more than enough. And it turns out that some things hadn't been communicated properly. I was meant to have more money. I didn't. We figured it all out. But my point is, when you're getting that calling, when you're hearing the voice and it's telling you to do something, you have to listen to it. And especially if it's a calling in terms of a direction that you're meant to be moving in. Okay. Next card out, the healing must be completed before your life can transform. So for those of you that have been going through a transition and you're getting frustrated by things not being exactly how you want, or you're waiting for that big change to come, the healing needs to finish. Things take time to integrate. Things take time to complete, and it will all come together, but you have to move through the process. This is a moment where we can't, sorry, I'm laughing because there's somebody watching and we both know that that card is very much for them. I know this is a collective reading, but to answer the question to the text I just got, yes, I think this is for you. But we need to be patient with how these things play out and how it all happens. We always want to rush everything. And I am so guilty of it myself. I'm the world's most impatient person. And I go and do something and I want the result like that. And that's not necessarily how things work. So just be mindful of that if you are having those moments of impatience and wanting everything immediately. A couple of cards jumped out while we were looking at those cards, and it's good luck sometimes comes disguised as bad luck. So if you're hitting a roadblock and you're not sure why, I mean, I always say rejection is the universe's protection. We don't always understand why things are happening or why things aren't happening, but often it's divine intervention in terms of the protection that we need, and we can't see why. And we may not always get those answers in terms of why that happened, but we have to trust that when things don't come to fruition, it is for a reason. The next card that jumped out, with greater awareness, you will find the answers you're looking for. So when you're tuning into that voice that I talked about in the beginning, following your heart leads to the right things. when you're tuning into that voice more and you're listening to the messages that you are getting, it's like a muscle that the more you use it, the stronger it becomes, and you do strengthen those abilities. So just know that as you tune in more, as you meditate more, as you ground more, and I know that sometimes I can sound like a broken record when I talk about these things, but these practices that we incorporate into our lives are so incredibly important, because it's all of that that connects us to the other side. It's all of that that connects us to the divine messages and the divine creator that is going to guide us and give us the help that we need, and that we are all absolutely capable of, but we often shut it down when we're younger because the world and the 3D gets in the way. We're told that we're crazy or certain things can't be true. And the longer you tune in and you sort of exist in this world where you are connected to spirit, to the divine creator, to the universe, however you want to word it, it's totally fine. But the longer you live in that realm, the more you understand that absolutely everything is possible. So you realize that all the naysayers when you were younger and were telling you no, 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 they were the ones that were wrong, not you. So next card out, you have intuitive ideas that you really need to act upon. So there's something this week that's, I'm going to say, niggling at you that you feel like you need to chase, and things that you need to do and see through, and you need to follow that up. You need to go after those things. And the reality is, if something doesn't work, you're learning from it, or it's not working for a reason. So you need to go back and refine what it is you're moving towards. But all of these attempts and moving forward, it's all happening for a reason. And it's either a lesson you need to learn, or that's a direction you need to move in. And maybe it's both. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned whilst you're on the path to what it is you're moving towards. Remember, you came here to teach others. So by doing this and by tuning in and hearing the messages that are coming through, by allowing the divine to work through you, you will be guiding others. And sometimes we mean that in a literal sense, in terms of you'll actively be teaching people, and that's amazing. And at other times, it's leading by example. It's showing the way and clearing the path for others that didn't know the path was there. And maybe it wasn't, and you're creating the path. Maybe the path was there and they just couldn't see it. But no matter what form this comes in, you are going to be a teacher, whether it be by your actions, whether it be by actively teaching. So you need to remember that. And this is why it's so important to trust the guidance that you're getting, to trust the path that you're being called to, because there is a reason why you're doing it. It's part of why I often talk about you have to remember who you are. And we talk about this in terms of looks, and, we're all very self-critical, and we live in a world that is horrible. And people say women are horrible to women. Yes, they are. But women are also horrible to men. Men are horrible to women, and vice versa, and all of this, and super critical for the way people look and how they carry themselves, how they dress, or what choices they make. And the reality is, we all came here to be individuals in the way we look, in the way we present ourselves, in the way we speak, the sound of our voice, and the path we choose to take. And it's because we've all come here to learn different lessons for our own soul growth. We've all come here for different reasons and to complete different missions. And this is why it's so important to listen to that calling and move down that path. So keep that in mind when, or if you're debating whether or not to trust that voice and that intuition. So another card that came out, don't take action when there's a feeling of resistance. Okay, so this is a week to move forward. It is a week to listen to the calling of your soul and listen to the messages that you are getting. However, if you're going somewhere and that door is firmly locked, that in itself is a message. That is telling you that that is either not your door or it is not ready to be walked through just yet. I think I don't know if it was in the monthly or if it was in last week's reading. Maybe it was the week before. I lose all track of time and when certain messages were talked about. But I mentioned that I was in talks about moving over to the US back in 2000. It was around 2005, maybe 2006 at the latest. And everything in that relationship completely blew up. And when that did, I was like, I'm not moving to the US. It's not in the cards for me. I'm meant to be in Australia. And it was 9 or 10 years later that it all came back around. And the reality is that door to the US at that time was completely closed to me. That wasn't an option. And had I tried to pursue it then, it wouldn't have worked. I wouldn't be here right now. I let it go and then it came back around organically and in a way that made sense and it all worked. So just know that the timing is something. So if that resistance is there, it's not time yet, or maybe that's the wrong door. So just keep that in mind. And I kept feeling I had to pull one more card from this deck and this one jumped out. Know that you are protected. So the universe is on your side. The universe wants you to win and it wants you on your path. It wants you doing the things that you came here to do. So I feel like this week is very much about moving forward. It's about hearing that call of your soul and really leaning into that. And look, maybe this week it's not that huge amounts of actions need to be taken, but it's something as simple as you need to start turning it over, taking the first steps. Maybe it's just researching what it is you need to do to get to that next spot, or it's it's taking that first step without it needing to come to completion or get to the end of it. It's just starting that journey. And look, for some of us, it might be a little more dynamic in terms of like we start and things just take off like a roller coaster. Whatever it is, just start the journey. Okay, we're moving on to the Ancient Stones Oracle. Okay, the first card out is Pave Your Own Way. Leadership, courage, forge, don't follow. So this is confirmation of everything that I have just talked about and all the cards that have just come out. There were people that believed Mount Everest, it was impossible to climb. And yet it's been conquered by, I don't even know the numbers. Every time I watch a documentary on Everest, I am mind blown by what people are able to achieve up there. As someone who is terrible at altitude, it is not a goal that I have. But the reality is people now are able to go up there because there were Sherpas and a few other adventurers that led the way and made it to the summit and managed to come down successfully. But somebody had to pave the way. So you can follow in somebody else's footsteps, and that's fine. But this is a time to forge your own path. And maybe it starts off following in someone else's footsteps and then you hit the dead end or where the path finishes and it's time for you to continue on. And that's where you forge the path. Maybe the forging of the path is just going against what your family think you should be doing or tell you should do or whatever it is. But it is time. Now, a card jumped out, but it fell on the floor. So give me a second. Okay. Boundary stones, negotiations, contracts, and communication. So whatever's coming, I feel like you're going to have to create boundaries. And sometimes the boundaries are just saying to people, this is what I'm doing and I need you to get on board and support me, or just get out of my way because this is happening no matter what. Negotiations, maybe it's working something out with the job that you currently have so that you have the flexibility or the hours, just something to sort of move into what's coming next. Or it could be negotiating just with your home life, husband, kids, wife and kids, just partner generally, in this new way that you're going to be moving forward. And yes, there absolutely could be contracts as well. So just keep that in mind. Hagstone, energy shield, protection, and inner strength. Whenever we start a journey, and especially when you're healing and transforming life, people don't always like us to heal and move forward because it alters how we interact with them. So it changes their life and what they're comfortable with. So I just want to bring that up. The other thing is, as we transform our life into new paths, people can be very resistant to our growth in that area as well. And I'm not saying that that is necessarily going to happen. I'm just saying that it is a time when you are going through transformation in any way, shape, or form that you need to protect yourself. And it's important to protect yourself so that you can just keep moving forward. When I was in Australia, I was told that my voice and how I spoke altered between being very broadly Australian sounding and then being quite posh sounding. And they said, and it doesn't work. You kind of need to pick a lane and fit in there. And I went and started working with a voice coach, and then I worked on an American accent with this voice coach. And with that being said, I've auditioned in an American accent, and at times I amuse my friends when I drop into it. I don't think I do a very good job. But when I was working on articulating a little bit better and just pronouncing my words better and opening the back of my throat and doing elocution lessons and is actually fascinating, because you learn how different countries use their mouth, throat, and Australians speak with a very wide mouth, and we speak from the back of our throat. Americans open their mouths and enunciate every single syllable. And learning all of that, I probably have altered how I speak. I watch interviews as I'm editing them now, and then I go back and watch, say, when I was on The Bachelor or some of my early hosting work, and I can absolutely see the difference. But when I was going through it, now everybody leaves me alone. But as I was going through it, people would pick on me. Why are you pronouncing that word that way? Why are you saying this? Why are you doing that? You know what? I'm not doing it for any reason, and it's not against anybody else. I'm doing it for my own growth and so that I can do better. But people are very, very comfortable in who they see us as and how we present ourselves and the path that we're on. And whenever we go to change it, there is resistance frequently because it doesn't suit that person. So this Hagstone card, in talking about energy shield and protection, just meditate and protect yourself. Cover yourself in a gold light. Gold light is protection. Do that for yourself, just for your own peace of mind. One of my favorite things to do if I'm having a hard time, especially with a specific individual, is to do a cord cutting ceremony. It doesn't mean you're cutting anybody out of your life, but it means that they don't have those spiritual connections attached to you. And it just gives you the freedom to move about unencumbered or unattached to anybody else. And I do it frequently with a lot of people I love. I do it in a more serious manner when I am clearing somebody out of my life, because I don't want their energetic attention on me. But it's more about just freeing yourself. And then obviously the inner strength, it's trusting where you're going and the reason for the changes you're making. So for me, I wanted to better myself. I wanted it to be easier when I was auditioning and going through different things. So I had to just trust that I was doing it for all the right reasons and that it was the right thing to do. And it has been. So it feels like a small and silly example, but again, these are people that love me, but they couldn't understand why the change needed to happen. And Casglow, thank you so much for saying that you love my voice. My voice, it's a funny thing. There were a lot of people when I was on The Bachelor that did not enjoy the sound of my voice, and learning more about human design as a manifester and a emotionally defined manifester with a defined ego, and all of it attaches through my throat. My voice is incredibly triggering for a lot of people. So I appreciate anyone that says they enjoy listening to me. Okay, and the final card from this Ancient Stones Oracle is Be the Mountain, slow and steady, foundations and patience. So ironic that I talked about Mount Everest and then we get this imagery that comes up. But remember, I did say at the beginning that it wasn't necessarily about following your heart and it leading to completion this week. This is the beginning as you start to move down this path. So just know that this is the beginning of a larger journey for you. And I feel like it's going to be incredible. I feel like this is the beginning of some life-changing moments that are coming in for you in a really wonderful way. And maybe it's just the seeds that are being planted. Maybe it is that education that I talked about. But know that building the foundation is the most important part, because if your foundation is not solid, then you'll never be able to build a sturdy structure on top. To have that foundation and to have it sturdy, then you can build the biggest empire on top of it and you will be protected. Okay, and we are going to finish up with just one card from the Dragon Oracle. I was thinking about these cards last night as I fell asleep, so I knew this was how we had to finish this reading. I'm just trying to keep my screen alive. Okay. Earth Dragon. Clears your path and the land around you. Stay grounded, be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing. You can move forward in life. So again, you've got the support of the universe. You've got the support of the Earth Dragon, who is helping you to clear the path for you moving forward. And it's all about forward motion and forward movement. And it's ironic to say that this is what it's all about when we're about to go into all this retrograde energy. I mean, we are in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde already, and I know there are people that are really feeling it. Normally, it's me complaining about Mercury retrograde, even when it's in shadow, and touch wood, at this moment, I'm feeling okay about it. But all of that is going on, but there is still this forward motion and there is change that is coming. And I don't know about you, but I find change incredibly exciting because I always want a new adventure in life, whether that be travel or something else. So it's a really good and exciting week. So I hope that this reading resonates with some of you, if not all of you. As I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Not every reading is for every person. And do go and check out the July reading for the entire month. Pick your pile, leave a note in the comments as to which pile you picked and if it did resonate with you. I love to read feedback in that regard, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm not sure what's going on with full disclosure. I haven't spoken to David over the weekend. I've just been letting him and Sophia adjust to their whole new family because those dynamics have changed, but I am hoping that we'll be able to do something remotely this week. So hopefully I will see those of you who are a part of High Vibe on Friday, and I will definitely see you all back here next Monday. And Anne, thank you so much.